Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of fascinating sources and really try to pull out the most impactful nuggets of knowledge for you.
That's the plan.
Today, we're not just talking business in the usual sense. We're talking about taking flight.
Hmm.
Imagine this idea, the power to truly soar, to build your vision right from the ground up. It's actually already inside you. It doesn't matter where you are right now.
Right. It's about tapping into that potential, that internal engine, and getting ready for takeoff.
And our deep dive today, it's directly inspired by some really powerful excerpts from T.D. Jakes' book, Soar, Build Your Vision from the Ground Up.
Yeah, a great source. So our mission really is to pull out those key insights, those practical strategies for anyone who's maybe thinking about launching something new or growing what they already have.
And we're doing it all through this great analogy of aviation, flying.
Exactly. It's a strong metaphor.
It really is, especially because, let's be honest, so many of us feel kind of, well, grounded.
Totally. Weighed down.
Yeah, maybe it's just the sheer weight of responsibilities or that constant background noise of economic uncertainty. I mean, the source even mentions a CNN report. Something like 76% of Americans live from paycheck to paycheck.
Wow. Yeah, that's sobering.
Or maybe it's past failures, leaving you feeling emotionally, financially, and creatively fatigued, as the book puts it.
Mm-hmm. Burned out.
So this deep dive, we hope, offers you a clearer flight path. Kind of a shortcut, maybe, to understanding how to break free from all that and, well, take off.
To really ascend.
Okay, so let's get into it. How do you actually get your vision off the ground? How do you go from just an idea, maybe a dream, to a solid flight plan?
Well, the first step, according to the source, is catching your destination.
Catching your destination.
Yeah, it's about turning those
Yeah.
those flights of fancy, as he calls them, into fights you can win.
Fights you can win. I like that.
And that really means connecting deeply with your passion, first off, but also figuring out your motives. Why do you really want to soar as a business owner? What's driving you?
And passion's important, but it's not everything.
Oh, absolutely not. This is critical. You have to understand the market need. The book is really clear on this. It says, no matter how gifted and enthusiastic you may be, if there is no market for what you want to offer, you're doomed to spin your wheels on an endless runway of frustrating futility.
Oof, an endless runway of futility. Doesn't sound good.
Not at all. So your passion, however strong it is, it has to intersect with a real existing problem out there, something people actually need solved. That's your true destination, you could say.
That makes sense. You need that guidance, that external input. It makes me think about that story the author shares.
Oh, the Piedmont Airlines one.
Yeah. Working in baggage claim, watching the ground crew guide the planes in, it really drives home that you need that control tower perspective, even if you're the pilot.
Exactly. It's about finding your own control tower, that guidance, which, leads to the next question. How do you actually find your spot, your unique slice of the pie?
Right. How do you carve that out?
Well, the advice is to really look around. Design your business plan by observing what needs fixing or changing or solving in the world right now, socially, culturally.
So spotting opportunities.
Spotting opportunities. Exactly. Like maybe there's a new product needed because technology shifted, or maybe an economic change creates a need for a new service.
Like that laundry example.
Yeah, that was a good one. A specialized laundry service. It doesn't just clean your clothes, it takes extra care with your professional stuff, makes it look like new, delivers it, knows how to handle linen differently than Lycra.
It's about the details.
It's finding and filling a specific gap.
And that seems especially important when you're maybe a smaller player going up against the big guys, right?
Definitely. Think about like your local indie coffee shop versus Starbucks or Caribou. How do they even compete?
Yeah, how do they?
The source says they offer something extra. It might be extra care, extra attention, better service, maybe higher quality, but it's that something extra that makes people choose them.
That's your edge.
That's your edge. And look, whether you start with the problem you want to solve or you start with a cool new offering you've thought up, your process has to include serious market research. No skipping this step.
Okay, so what does that look like practically?
Well, first, define your territory. Like literally get a map, outline your service area if it's local. If it's online, figure out which countries or regions are your best bet.
Got it. Geography matters.
It does. And then, crucially, you need to understand your customers. Who are they? How many are there? What are their demographics? You need that info to target effectively.
We talk a lot about understanding customers, but what about the competition? especially the ones who didn't make it.
Ah, that's a really interesting point the source makes. Failed businesses can be incredibly instructive, maybe even more so than success stories sometimes.
Really? How so?
It encourages you to actually talk to former entrepreneurs. Ask them straight up, what do you wish you'd known before you started?
Learn from their mistakes.
Exactly. That kind of insight, hard-won insight, can save you so much trouble on your own runway.
Okay, so you've done the research. You have a plan.
Yeah.
What actually gives you the lift? What gets you airborne?
Timing. Timing is huge. The source talks about waiting for that perfect wind at your back.
Right, you need the right conditions.
Absolutely. What works brilliantly one year might completely bomb the next. The author even shares his own example. The Woman Thou Art Loosed Bible.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
It was a massive success when it came out in this unique pocketbook shape. Huge. But he admits, today, probably wouldn't work.
Why not?
Well, think about it. E-books, Bible apps like YouVersion everywhere,
Oh.
even designer purses changing what people carry. The whole landscape shifted.
So the context changed completely?
Completely. Or think about Apple computers initially. They were slow to take off, right? New tech, high price. But then conditions changed. They became more affordable, more established. Timing. Market conditions are like your weather report. You have to read them.
That really drives home the need for adaptability, which leads us straight into e-commerce.
The e-commerce imperative, yes.
Yeah.
It's not really optional anymore, is it?
Doesn't seem like it. The source says it offers huge opportunities and has really leveled the playing field for smaller businesses.
It absolutely has. You can use all these online tools, social media, platforms like eBay or Etsy or PayPal. You can keep costs down while reaching this enormous pool of potential customers.
It's a total game changer.
And we've seen what happens when businesses don't adapt, right? Blockbuster, Borders, Circuit City.
Yeah, cautionary tales.
Definitely. The book stresses that deciding not to do e-commerce needs to be a really well-informed, deliberate decision, not just something you drift into by default. You need a good reason.
And when you are online, how you treat people matters just as much, maybe more.
Oh, for sure. The golden rule.
Yeah.
Do to others what you would have them do to you. Apply it directly to your online customer experience.
How do you figure out what that looks like?
Simple advice. Go surf your competitors' sites. Seriously. Click around. What do you like? What drives you crazy? Is it easy to navigate? Does it engage your senses? Are they using Amazon or their own setup? Learn from them.
So it's active research to improve your own offering.
Exactly. Not just spying, refining. Because online, you have so little time to grab someone.
little.
Research suggests maybe 3 seconds.
3 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, 3 seconds for your product or your promotion to hook someone. Information overload is real.
So that first impression is everything.
It really is. Which means your branding, the quality of it, has to be spot on. Pay attention to the details, how it works and how it looks and feels.
What kills it instantly?
Oh, sloppy graphics, typos, outdated info. People click away immediately. It's unforgiving.
Sounds intense. But there's an upside too, right? With testing.
Huge upside. E-commerce gives you unlimited opportunities for test marketing and experimentation. It's like your own personal classroom, laboratory, and wind tunnel all in one.
A wind tunnel. I like that. So you can test things out, tweak them.
Yeah, try different approaches, different price points. See what works before you go all in. It's invaluable.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. You have the vision, the plan, you're thinking about timing and online presence. But you can't fly solo, can you? Let's talk about the flight crew.
Right. Building that support system. The core principle is simple. You can't do mighty deeds by yourself in isolation.
Even the legends needed help.
Even Lindbergh. He looked like the ultimate lone eagle crossing the Atlantic. But there was a whole team behind that flight. It applies directly to entrepreneurs.
So who makes up this crew?
Well, first you have your ground crew. The source breaks this down into 3 key types of relationships: supporters, advisors, and mentors.
Supporters, advisors, mentors. Okay.
Their roles might overlap sometimes, but together they basically lay down that smooth runway for you. They provide the refueling you need between trips, so to speak.
And you shouldn't be afraid to ask for their help.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
The book explicitly says, don't hesitate to ask for what you need. That's how you build that reliable crew.
Makes sense. Okay, so that's the ground support. What about the engine, the funding?
Ah, yes. The funding part of your flight crew. And interestingly, the source says this part starts with you.
With me, the entrepreneur.
Yep, you're the captain. You have to be willing to put your own money, your own financial resources on the line first before you can really expect anyone else to risk theirs.
That's a big step. How much should you risk?
It has to be a calculated risk.
Mm.
Only invest what you can genuinely afford to lose. And always, always have a backup plan if things don't take off like you hoped. The advice is blunt. Don't invest all you have in something that hasn't yet proved it can fly.
Smart. Don't bet the farm on an unproven plane.
Exactly. It's about being smart, measured, not just taking a blind leap of faith.
And what about when you approach investors? What if they say no?
Expect it. Rejection is part of the process. It's going to happen.
So just shrug it off.
Well, don't just shrug it off. Learn from it. The key is to respectfully ask all declining investors why they're unwilling to invest.
Get feedback.
Get the feedback. Use it to make your pitch stronger next time. You can literally turn that no into the fuel for the next investor's yes.
That's a great way to look at it. Continuous improvement.
Right. And when you do get a yes, when you find those investors, get everything in writing.
Absolutely crucial.
Non-negotiable. Consult lawyers, financial experts. Understand every single word of that contract. The book says, never sign something you haven't read.
Sounds like basic advice, but probably ignored too often.
Way too often.
Okay.
It's about protecting yourself, clear communication, and just being professional. It builds trust.
Okay, so we've planned, we've gathered our crew, we've secured funding, but flights aren't always smooth, are they? Let's talk turbulence.
Yes, navigating challenges. Adaptability, it's inevitable. The Force talks about feeling trapped in tunnels constructed by too many responsibilities and obligations. Obstacles pop up, personal and professional.
Yeah, that sounds familiar to anyone juggling a lot.
And this brings us to a really powerful concept. Fail fast and crash last.
Fail fast and crash last. What does that mean?
It's about entrepreneurial leadership in crisis. The book uses that incredible example of U.S. Airways Flight 1549, Captain Sully Sullenberger landing in the Hudson River.
A miracle on the Hudson, yeah.
It's a perfect metaphor, right? It shows an entrepreneur needs preparation, engagement, resourcefulness, and creativity to handle totally unexpected, high-stakes problems. You can't just stick rigidly to the plan when the engines fail.
You have to improvise with what you have. It makes you wonder how much of success is the plan versus just sheer grit and adaptability.
It's a mix, surely, but adaptability is huge. And sometimes the challenge isn't a sudden crisis, it's delay, being stuck.
Like being stuck on the runway.
Exactly. And that requires what the source calls courageous patience. It's frustrating, you wanted to go, but rushing back into the air without learning the lessons from why you were delayed, that's a mistake.
Patience is tough when you're eager to fly.
It really is. And sometimes, ironically, the setback comes from succeeding too quickly.
Succeeding too quickly, how is that a problem?
It's called a blessing too fast. The book tells this story about a woman, a baker, made amazing cakes. Delicious.
Sounds good so far.
Right. But then the holidays hit, orders poured in, and she just could not handle the volume. She hadn't budgeted enough, didn't have enough staff. It collapsed.
Oh, no.
The lesson, a blessing too fast is no blessing at all. You absolutely have to know your capacity, your limits, who your real ideal customer is before you try to scale up massively.
Wow. A blessing too fast is no blessing at all. That really goes against the usual scale fast mantra, doesn't it?
It does. It's a reality check. You need to find that sweet spot between being ambitious and just completely overextending yourself.
So how do you find that?
Start small, test things out, take baby steps before you run. Like the author's wife, Sarita, she wanted to make these really high-end candles.
Candles, okay.
Yeah, smokeless, beautiful scents, long burning. She did her homework, studied the market, chose expensive, high-quality materials, and realized something important.
What was that?
She wasn't going to be competing with Target. She was aiming for places like Neiman Marcus. High-end. It completely defined her niche.
So understanding exactly who you're serving and where you fit.
Precisely. You can't be everything to everyone, so don't try. Know your niche.
That's solid advice. What other common setbacks do entrepreneurs face?
Well, sometimes our own perspective can limit us. Generational perspectives, for instance.
Oh, so.
The source suggests this really interesting synergy, combining, say, boomers' guts with younger generations' gadgets.
Boomer guts and millennial gadgets.
Kind of, leveraging the strengths of different generations, like using social media for super targeted marketing, which avoids the huge cost of old school mass marketing, print, radio, TV.
So use the best of both worlds.
Use the best of both. But there's also a little caution in there, an observation maybe, that sometimes millennials might feel a bit entitled to the same or greater levels of success without having to do all that we did to get there.
A gentle reminder about the hard work involved, maybe.
Perhaps. But regardless of generation, the need for teamwork is universal. The book is emphatic. No matter how talented you are or how hard you work, you can't do it all.
You have to learn to delegate.
You have to master knowing when to ask for help and when to focus on what only you can do. Collaboration isn't weakness, it's smart strategy.
Okay. And one last thing on navigating challenges. Anticipating change.
Yes, this is huge. Change should never surprise an entrepreneur. It must be anticipated.
Expect the unexpected.
Kind of.
Right.
Like a pilot knows storms happen or air traffic changes.
Hmm.
They adjust course constantly, but they never lose sight of the destination. Entrepreneurs have to do the same.
How do you anticipate, though?
Think about the end goal first. Where are you trying to land? Then work backward. Imagine all the things that could go wrong, all the potential pitfalls, and figure out how you'd navigate them before they happen.
Working backward from the destination? Smart.
It builds resilience.
Okay, final leg of our journey here. Let's talk about sustaining flight. Not just getting off the ground, but staying up there. Vision, legacy, purpose.
Right. And those challenges we just talked about. The turbulence. The source connects that directly to resilience. It quotes, tribulation brings about perseverance, and perseverance, proven character, and proven character, hope.
So the bumps are actually necessary.
They're seen as normal parts of the process and actually very necessary to their growth and maturity. They forge you.
And this isn't just about personal growth, is it? It's bigger than that.
Much bigger. The idea is that your flight path, your success, shouldn't just lift you, it should also lift your family and raise your community.
Lifting the whole community, how does that work?
The book shares this powerful one-for-all example. Think of immigrant families coming to America. Often, they live super conservatively, save every dime, and then they deliberately teach down to the next generation. They get the kids involved in the business early on. They're building not just a company, but true wealth, a legacy that lasts for generations to come.
Wow. That's a powerful model. Teach, reach, and glean, I think it said.
Exactly. It extends way beyond just making a profit for yourself. It's about community impact.
Which ties into the idea that you're selling more than just a product, right?
Absolutely. You're selling a solution to a problem. And often, you're selling something intangible, too. Like that example of the high-end men's clothing store owner.
What was he selling besides suits?
Courtesy, respect, and genuine interest. That's what kept customers coming back. That's the real brand loyalty.
That intangible value and purpose can also be part of your marketing.
Oh, definitely. Purpose-driven marketing. Supporting a cause you believe in. That can create amazing positive buzz. It can ignite a viral wildfire.
Oh, like donating.
Yeah, like local businesses buying uniforms for the kids' sports team or donating products to fundraisers. It gets your name out there in a positive way. The author even mentions doing this with their talk show.
Oh, yeah.
Choosing guests partly based on their online following, YouTube hits, Facebook friends, to leverage their audience and get additional viewers or ticket sales without spending more marketing money.
Smart. Leveraging influence.
It's smart, purpose-driven leverage.
This all leads to a really strong call to action near the end, doesn't it?
It really does. Excuse your excuses.
Excuse your excuses. Love that.
Yeah. It's a challenge to everyone, no matter your age. Millennials starting out, boomers maybe retired, but with ideas, realize that you, right now, are uniquely equipped to bring your entrepreneurial vision to life. Stop making excuses.
Your circumstances don't define your potential.
Exactly. And there's a strong connection made to faith and action. Thinking about figures like Noah, building that ark based on faith way before the rains came. That's a pioneering entrepreneurial spirit right there.
Taking action before you have proof.
Or the parable of the talents. We're given gifts, talents, and the expectation is we invest them, make them grow for maximum return, not just bury them safely.
Don't bury your talents.
And that command, do business till I come, it's interpreted as we're meant to occupy the world with businesses that are needed. Businesses that actually provide answers to people's prayers, solve problems, and how you run that business, how you treat people, that's your real message.
Wow. That adds a whole other layer of meaning to entrepreneurship.
It does. And don't let others define you. Don't let the crowd define you or confine you. The author mentions his own journey, moving beyond just being seen as a small-town pastor.
Break the mold. Think bigger.
Think bigger, like the Wright brothers' first little hop at Kitty Hawk that led eventually to the moon landing. Getting off the ground is the first step to incredible places. Or think of Dorothy Vaughan in Hidden Figures.
The human computer.
Yes, she didn't just do the complex work. She demanded recognition for the title and role she was already performing. She changed perceptions by owning her expertise.
Powerful examples. Okay, so wrapping up, we come back to some fundamentals.
We do. Back to that indispensable business plan. It's your architect's blueprint. It helps you anticipate the turbulence and plan for a smooth landing.
And the financial side is critical.
Absolutely critical. Get professional help. Accountants, lawyers, lenders. Understand the financial components, startup costs, income statements, projecting profitability, managing cash flow. Know your numbers.
Like the balance sheet and the P&L.
Exactly. Understand what they mean. The balance sheet is your snapshot. Assets, liabilities, plus owner's equity. What you own versus what you owe. The P&L, profit and loss, tells you if you're making money over time. Gross profit, operating expenses, net profit. These aren't just numbers. They're your dashboard, showing potential red flags.
Got it. Knowing your financial health is key to staying airborne.
It really is. That preparation, that groundwork, like the author preparing before speaking it, gives you the freedom to ensure a smooth landing.
Preparation facilitates liberation.
That's the phrase. It gives you the confidence you need to truly soar.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. We've journeyed through building a vision, using flight as our guide, from catching that initial idea, crafting the plan, thinking about timing and e-commerce,
To assembling your crew, navigating the inevitable turbulence, and really focusing on sustaining a venture that has purpose and legacy.
the core message, I think, is pretty empowering. You really do have the power within you to succeed, maybe even beyond your wildest dreams.
Absolutely. So the encouragement is to catch a really big vision. Don't be afraid to stretch your talents, see what you're truly capable of.
So our final thought for you, listening. After hearing all this, what's one step, just one small step you can take today to get your own vision off the ground? Or if you're already flying, what can you do to make sure you continue to soar?
Because, as the source reminds us, the sky is truly no limit to what you can achieve with the gifts you've been given.